A Grammarian's Funeral, shortly after the Revival of Learning, by Robert Browning, read for LibriVox.org by Martin Geeson, in Haslemere, Surrey. Let us begin and carry up this corpse, singing together. Leave we the common crofts, the vulgar thorps, each in its tether, sleeping safe on the bosom of the plain, cared for till cock-crow. Look out if yonder be not day again, rimming the rock-row. That's the appropriate country. There man's thought, rarer, intenser, self-gathered for an outbreak, as it ought, chafes in the censer. Leave we the unlettered plain its herd and crop. Seek we sepulture on a tall mountain, citied to the top, crowded with culture. All the peaks soar, but one the rest excels, clouds overcome it. No, yonder sparkle is the citadel's, circling its summit. Thither our path lies. Wind we up the heights. Wait ye the warning. Our low life was the levels and the nights. He's for the morning. Step to a tune, square chests, erect each head. Where the beholders? This is our master, famous, calm, and dead, borne on our shoulders. Sleep, crop and herd, sleep, darkling thorpe and croft, safe from the weather. He whom we convoy to his grave aloft, singing together, he was a man born with thy face and throat, lyric Apollo. Long he lived nameless. How should spring take note winter would follow? Till lo, the little touch, and youth was gone. Cramped and diminished moaned he, new measures, other feet anon. My dance is finished. No, that's the world's way. Keep the mountain side, make for the city. He knew the signal, and stepped on with pride over men's pity, left play for work, and grappled with the world, bent on escaping. What's in the scroll, quoth he, thou keepest furled? Show me their shaping, theirs who most studied man, the bard and sage. Give. So he gowned him, straight got by heart that book to its last page. Learned we found him. Yea, but we found him bald too, eyes like lead, accents uncertain. Time to taste life, another would have said. Up with the curtain. This man said rather, actual life comes next. Patience a moment. Grant I have mastered learning's crabbed text. Still there's the comment. Let me know all. Prate not of most or least, painful or easy. Even to the crumbs I'd fain eat up the feast, I nor feel queasy. Oh, such a life as he resolved to live when he had learned it, when he had gathered all books had to give. Sooner he spurned it. Image the whole, then execute the parts. Fancy the fabric quite, ere you build, ere steel strike fire from quartz, ere mortar dab brick. Here's the town gate reached, there's the market-place gaping before us. Yea, this in him was the peculiar grace. Hearten our chorus, that before living he'd learn how to live. No end to learning. Earn the means first, God surely will contrive use for our earning. Others mistrust and say, but time escapes, live now or never. He said, what's time? Leave now for dogs and apes. Man has forever. Back to his book then, deeper drooped his head. Calculus racked him. Leaden before, his eyes grew dross of lead. Tussis attacked him. Now, master, take a little rest. Not he. Caution redoubled. Step two abreast. The way winds narrowly. Not a whit troubled. Back to his studies, fresher than at first. Fierce as a dragon, he, soul hydroptic, with a sacred thirst, sucked at the flagon. Oh, if we draw a circle premature, heedless of far gain, greedy for quick returns of profit, sure bad is our bargain. Was it not great? Did not he throw on God? He loves the burthen. God's task to make the heavenly period perfect the earthen. Did not he magnify the mind, show clear just what it all meant? He would not discount life, as fools do here, paid by instalment. He ventured neck or nothing, heaven's success found, or earth's failure. Wilt thou trust death or not? He answered, yes, hence with life's pale lure. That low man seeks a little thing to do, sees it and does it. This high man, with a great thing to pursue, dies ere he knows it. That low man goes on adding one to one, his hundred soon hit. This high man, aiming at 1,000,000, misses an unit. That has the world here. Should he need the next, let the world mind him. This throws himself on God, and unperplexed, seeking, shall find him. So with the throttling hands of death at strife, ground he at grammar. Still through the rattle parts of speech were rife. While he could stammer, he settled Hoti's business. Let it be. Properly based un. Gave us the doctrine of the enclitic day, dead from the waist down. Well, here's the platform. Here's the proper place. Hail to your purlieus, all ye high flyers of the feathered race, swallows and curlews. Here's the top peak. The multitude below live, for they can, there. This man decided not to live, but no. Bury this man there. Here's his place, where meteors shoot, clouds form, lightnings are loosened, stars come and go. Let joy break with the storm. Peace let the dew send. Lofty designs must close in like effects. Loftily lying, leave him. Still loftier than the world suspects, living and dying. End of A Grammarian's Funeral, shortly after the revival of learning. This recording is in the public domain.
Home Thoughts from Abroad by Robert Browning. Read for LibriVox.org by April Gonzalez. Cavite, Philippines. Home Thoughts from Abroad. Oh, to be in England, Now that April's there, and whoever wakes in England sees some morning, unaware, that the lowest buffs in the brushwood sheaf round the elm-tree bole are in tiny leaf, while the chaffinch sing on the orchard buff. In England, now, and up to April, when May follows, and the white throat builds, and all the swallows. Hark! I where my blossom pear tree in the hedge leans to the field, and scatters on the clover blossoms and dewdrops at the bent spray's edge. That's the wise thrush. He sings each song twice over, lest you should think he never could recapture the first fine careless rapture. And though the fields look rough with hoary dew, all will be gay when noontide wakes anew. The buttercups, the little children's dower, far brighter than this gaudy melon flower. End of Home Thoughts from Abroad. This recording is in the public domain.
How They Brought the Good News from Ghent to Aix by Robert Browning. Read for LibriVox.org by Patrick Wallace. I sprang to the stirrup, and Joris and he. I galloped, Dirk galloped, we galloped all three. Good speed, cried the watch as the gate bolts undrew. Speed, echoed the wall to us galloping through. Behind shut the postern, the lights sank to rest, and into the midnight we galloped abreast. Not a word to each other, we kept the great pace, neck by neck, stride by stride, never changing our place. I turned in my saddle and made its girths tight, then shortened each stirrup and set the peak right, rebuckled the check strap, chained slacker the bit, nor galloped less steadily Roland a whit. 'Twas moonset at starting, but while we drew near Lokeren the cocks crew and twilight dawned clear. At Boom a great yellow star came out to see, at Duffelt 'twas morning as plain as could be, and from Mecheln church steeple we heard the half chime, so Joris broke silence with "Yet there is time." At Aarschot upleaped of a sudden the sun, and against him the cattle stood black, every one, to stare through the mist at us galloping past, and I saw my stout galloper Roland at last, with resolute shoulders, each butting away the haze as some bluff river headland its spray. And his low head and crest, just one sharp ear bent back for my voice, and the other pricked out on his track, and one eye's black intelligence, ever that glance o'er its white edge at me, his own master, askance. And the thick heavy spume flakes, which aye and anon his fierce lips shook upwards in galloping on. By Hasselt Dirk groaned, and cried Joris, "Stay, spur! Your Roos galloped bravely, the fault's not in her. We'll remember at Aix." For one heard the quick wheeze of her chest, saw the stretched neck and staggering knees and sunk tail and horrible heave of the flank, as down on her haunches she shuddered and sank. So we were left galloping, Joris and I, past Loos and past Tongres, no cloud in the sky. The broad sun above laughed a pitiless laugh, 'neath our feet broke the brittle bright stubble like chaff, till over by Delhem a dome spire sprung white, and "Gallop," gasped Joris, "for Aix is in sight. How they'll greet us!" and all in a moment his roan rolled neck and croup over, lay dead as a stone. And there was my Roland to bear the whole weight of the news which alone could save Aix from her fate, with his nostrils like pits full of blood to the brim, and with circles of red for his eye sockets' rim. Then I cast loose my buff coat, each holster let fall, shook off both my jack boots, let go belt and all, stood up in the stirrup, leaned, patted his ear, called my Roland his pet name, my horse without peer, clapped my hands, laughed and sung, any noise, bad or good, till at length into Aix Roland galloped and stood. And all I remember is friends flocking around, as I sat with his head twixt my knees on the ground, and no voice but was praising this Roland of mine, as I poured down his throat our last measure of wine, which, the burgesses voted by common consent, was no more than his due, who brought good news from Ghent. End of How they brought the good news from Ghent to Aix. This recording is in the public domain.
Robert Browning, The Lost Leader, read for LibriVox.org by Michael Dowling. Just for a handful of silver he left us, just for a ribbon to stick in his coat, found the one gift of which fortune bereft us, lost all the others she lets us devote. They, with the gold to give, doled him out silver. So much was theirs, who so little allowed. How all our copper had gone for his service. Rags, were they purple, his heart had been proud. We that had loved him so, followed him, honoured him, lived in his mild and magnificent eye, learned his great language, caught his clear accents, made him our pattern to live and to die. Shakespeare was of us, Milton was for us, Burns, Shelley were with us, they watch from their graves. He alone breaks from the van and the freemen, he alone sinks to the rear and the slaves. We shall march prospering, not through his presence. Songs may inspirit us, not from his lyre. Deeds will be done while he boasts his quiescence, still bidding crouch whom the rest bade aspire. Blot out his name then, record one lost soul more, one task more declined, one more footpath untrod, one more devil's triumph and sorrow for angels, one wrong more to man, one more insult to God. Life's night begins, let him never come back to us. There would be doubt, hesitation, and pain, forced praise on our part, the glimmer of twilight, never glad, confident morning again. Best fight on well, for we taught him, strike gallantly, menace our heart, ere we master his own. Then let him receive the new knowledge, and wait us, pardoned in heaven, the first by the throne. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Love Among the Ruins by Robert Browning. Read for LibriVox.org by Patty Cunningham. February 18th, 2012. Where the quiet-colored end of evening smiles, miles and miles, on the solitary pastures where our sheep, half asleep, tinkle homeward through the twilight, stray or stop as they crop, was the site once of a city great and gay, so they say, of our country's very capital. Its prince, ages since, held his court in, gathered councils, wielding far peace or war. Now the country does not even boast a tree, as you see, to distinguish slopes of verdure. Certain rills from the hills intersect and give a name to, else they run into one, where the domed and daring palace shot its spires up like fires, or the 100-gated circuit of a wall, bounding all, made of marble, men might march on, nor be pressed, 12 abreast. And such plenty and perfection, see, of grass never was. Such a carpet as this summer time spreads and embeds every vestige of the city, guessed alone, stock or stone, where a multitude of men breathed joy and woe long ago. Lust of glory pricked their hearts up, dread of shame struck them tame, and that glory and that shame alike the gold bought and sold. Now the single little turret that remains on the plains, by the caper overrooted, by the gourd overscored, while the patching houseleek's head of blossom winks through the chinks, marks the basement whence a tower in ancient times sprang sublime, and a burning ring all around the chariots traced as they raced, and the monarch and his minions and his dames viewed the games. And I know, while thus the quiet-colored eve smiles to leave to their folding all our many tinkling fleece in such peace, and the slopes and rills in undistinguished gray melt away, that a girl with eager eyes and yellow hair waits me there, in the turret whence the charioteers caught soul for the goal, when the king looked, where she looks now, breathless dumb, till I come. But he looked upon the city every side, far and wide, all the mountains topped with temples, all the glades colonnades, all the causeys, bridges, aqueducts, and then all the men. When I do come, she will speak not. She will stand, either hand on my shoulder, give her eyes the first embrace of my face, ere we rush, ere we extinguish sight and speech, each on each. In 1 year they sent 1,000,000 fighters forth, south and north, and they built their gods a brazen pillar high as the sky, yet reserved 1,000 chariots in full force, gold of course. O heart, O blood that freezes, blood that burns, Earth's returns for whole centuries of folly, noise, and sin, shut them in with their triumphs, then their glories, and the rest. Love is best. End of Love Among the Ruins. This recording is in the public domain.
Mesmerism by Robert Browning. Read for LibriVox.org by Martin Geeson. In Hazelmere, Surrey. All I believed is true. I am able yet all I want to get by a method as strange as new. Dare I trust the same to you? If at night, when doors are shut, and the woodworm picks, and the death watch ticks, and the bar has a flag of smut, and a cat's in the water butt, and the socket floats and flares, and the house beams groan, and a foot unknown is surmised on the garret stairs, and the locks slip unawares, and the spider, to serve his ends, by a sudden thread, arms and legs outspread, on the table's midst descends, comes to find God knows what friends. If since eve drew in, I say, I have sat and brought, so to speak, my thought to bear on the woman away, till I felt my hair turn grey, till I seemed to have and hold, in the vacancy twixt the wall and me, from the hair-plait's chestnut gold to the foot in its muslin fold, have and hold, then and there, her from head to foot, breathing and mute, passive and yet aware, in the grasp of my steady stare, hold and have, there and then, all her body and soul that completes my whole, all that women add to men, in the clutch of my steady ken, having and holding, till I imprint her fast on the void at last, as the sun does whom he will by the calotypist's skill. Then, if my heart's strength serve, and through all and each of the veils I reach to her soul, and never swerve, knitting an iron nerve, command her soul to advance, and inform the shape which has made escape, and before my countenance answers me glance for glance, I still with a gesture fit of my hands, that best do my soul's behest, pointing the power from it, while myself do steadfast sit, steadfast and still the same, on my object bent, while the hands give vent to my ardour and my aim, and break into very flame. Then I reach, I must believe, not her soul in vain, for to me again it reaches, and past retrieve is wound in the toils I weave, and must follow as I require, as befits a thrall, bringing flesh and all, essence and earth attire to the source of the tractile fire, till the house called hers, not mine, with a growing weight seems to suffocate, if she break not its leaden line and escape from its close confine, out of doors into the night, unto the maze of the wild wood ways, not turning to left nor right from the pathway, blind with sight, making through rain and wind o'er the broken shrubs, twixt the stems and stubs, with a still, composed, strong mind, nor a care for the world behind, swifter and still more swift, as the crowding peace doth to joy increase in the wide blind eyes uplift through the darkness and the drift, while I, to the shape I too feel my soul dilate, nor a whit abate, and relax not a gesture due, as I see my belief come true. For there have I drawn or no life to that lip? Do my fingers dip in a flame, which again they throw on the cheek that breaks aglow? Ah, was the hair so first? What, unfilleted, made alive, and spread through the void with a rich outburst, chestnut, gold interspersed? Like the doors of a casket shrine, see on either side her two arms divide, till the heart betwixt makes sign, take me, for I am thine. Now, now, the door is heard, hark the stairs, and nearer, and here, now, and at call the third, she enters without a word. On doth she march, and on to the fancied shape. It is past escape, herself now. The dream is done, and the shadow and she are one. First I will pray, do thou that ownest the soul, yet wilt grant control to another, nor disallow for a time, restrain me now, I admonish me while I may, not to squander guilt, since require thou wilt at my hand its price one day. What the price is, who can say? End of Mesmerism. This recording is in the public domain.
My Last Duchess by Robert Browning. Read for LibriVox.org by Rhonda Fetterman. Ferrara. That's my last Duchess painted on the wall, looking as if she were alive. I call that piece a wonder now. Frau Pandolf's hands worked busily a day, and there she stands. Will't please you sit and look at her? I said Frau Pandolf by design, for never read strangers like you that pictured countenance, the depth and passion of its earnest glance, but to myself they turned, since none puts by the curtain I have drawn for you, but I, and seemed as they would ask me, if they durst, how such a glance came there. So not the first are you to turn and ask thus. Sir, 'twas not her husband's presence only called that spot of joy into the Duchess's cheek. Perhaps Frau Pandolf chanced to say, her mantle laps over my lady's wrist too much, or paint must never hope to reproduce the faint half-flush that dies along her throat. Such stuff was courtesy, she thought, and cause enough for calling up that spot of joy. She had a heart, how shall I say, too soon made glad, too easily impressed. She liked whate'er she looked on, and her looks went everywhere. Sir, 'twas all one, my favour at her breast, the dropping of the daylight in the west, the bough of cherries some officious fool broke in the orchard for her, the white mule she rode with round the terrace, all and each would draw from her alike the approving speech, or blush at least. She thanked men good, but thanked, somehow, I know not how, as if she ranked my gift of a 900-years-old name with anybody's gift. Who'd stoop to blame this sort of trifling? Even had you skill in speech, which I have not, to make your will quite clear to such an one, and say, just this or that in you disgusts me. Here you miss, or there exceed the mark. And if she let herself be lessoned so, nor plainly set her wits to yours, forsooth, and made excuse, e'en that would be some stooping, and I choose never to stoop. O sir, she smiled, no doubt, whene'er I passed her, but who passed without much the same smile? This grew. I gave commands. Then all smiles stopped altogether. There she stands, as if alive. Will it please you rise? We'll meet the company below then. I repeat, the Count your master's known munificence is ample warrant that no just pretence of mine for dowry will be disallowed, though his fair daughter's self, as I avowed at starting, is my object. Nay, we'll go together down, sir. Notice Neptune, though, taming a sea-horse, thought a rarity, which Claus of Innsbruck cast in bronze for me. End of My Last Duchess. This recording is in the public domain. My Star by Robert Browning. Read for LibriVox.org by Rhonda Fetterman. All that I know of a certain star is it can throw like the angled spar, now a dart of red, now a dart of blue, till my friends have said they would fain see too my star that dartles the red and the blue. Then it stops like a bird, like a flower hangs furled. They must solace themselves with the Saturn above it. What matter to me if their star is a world? Mine has opened its soul to me, therefore I love it. End of My Star. This recording is in the public domain.
Now by Robert Browning. Read for LibriVox.org by Amy Graymore. Holton, Maine. www.amysmindtoyourmind.com. Out of your whole life give but a moment, all of your life that has gone before, all to come after it, so you ignore. So you make perfect the present, condense, in a rapture of rage for perfection's endowment, thought and feeling and soul and sense, merged in a moment, which gives me at last, you around me for once, you beneath me, above me, sure that despite of time future, time past, this tick of our lifetimes, one moment, you love me. How long such suspension may linger! Ah, sweet! The moment eternal, just that and no more, when ecstasy's utmost we clutch at the core, while cheeks burn, arms open, eyes shut, and lips meet. Now. This recording is in the public domain.
Pan and Luna by Robert Browning. Read for LibriVox.org by Martin Geeson. In Hazelmere, Surrey. Si credere digno est. Virgil, Georgics, Book 3, line 390. Oh, worthy of belief I hold it was, Virgil, your legend in those strange 3 lines. No question, that adventure came to pass one black night in Arcadia. Yes, the pines, mountains, and valleys mingling made one mass of black with void black heaven. The earth's confines, the sky's embrace, below, above, around, all hardened into black without a bound. Fill up a swart stone chalice to the brim with fresh squeezed yet fast thickening poppy juice. See how the sluggish jelly, laid to swim, turns marble to the touch of one who would loose the solid smooth, grown jet from rim to rim, by turning round the bowl. So night can fuse earth with her all-comprising sky. No less, light, the least spark, shows air and emptiness. And thus it proved, when, diving into space, stripped of all vapour, from each web of mist utterly film-free, entered on her race the naked moon, full orbed antagonist of night and dark night's dowry. Peak to base upstarted mountains, and each valley, kissed to sudden life, lay silver bright. In air flew she, revealed, made moon with limbs all bare. Still as she fled, each depth, where refuge seemed, opening a lone pale chamber, left distinct those limbs. Mid still retreating blue she teemed herself with whiteness, virginal, unsynced by any halo, save what finely gleamed to outline, not disguise her. Heaven was linked in one accord with earth, to quaff the joy, drain beauty to the dregs, without alloy. Whereof she grew aware. What help? When lo, a succourable cloud with sleep lay dense. Some pine-tree top had caught it sailing slow, and tethered for a prize. In evidence, captive lay fleece on fleece of piled up snow, drowsily patient. Flake heaped how or whence, the structure of that succourable cloud, what matter? Shamed, she plunged into its shroud. Orbed, so the woman figure poets call, because of rounds on rounds, that apple-shaped head which its hair binds close into a ball, each side the curving ears, that pure undraped pout of the sister paps, that, once for all say, her consummate circle thus escaped with its innumerous circlets, sank absorbed, safe in the cloud. O naked moon, full orbed! But what means this? The downy swathes combine, conglobe, the smothery, coy caressing stuff curdles about her. Vain each twist and twine those lithe limbs try, encroached on by a fluff fitting as close as fits the dented spine its flexible ivory outside flesh. Enough! The plumy drifts contract, condense, constringe, till she is swallowed by the feathery springe. As when a pearl slips lost in the thin foam churned on a seashore, and o'er frost conceits herself safe housed in Amphitrite's dome. If through the bladdery wave-worked yeast she meets what most she loathes and leaps from, elf from gnome no gladlier, finds that safest of retreats bubble about a treacherous hand wide ope to grasp her. Divers who pick pearls so grope. So lay this maid moon, clasped around and caught by rough red Pan, the god of all that tract. He it was schemed the snare, thus subtly wrought with simulated earth breath, wool tufts packed into a billowy wrappage. Sheep far sought for spotless shearings yield such. Take the fact as learned Virgil gives it, how the breed whitens itself forever. Yes, indeed. If one forefather ram, though pure as chalk from tinge on fleece, should still display a tongue black 'neath the beast's moist palate, prompt men balk the propagating plague. He gets no young, they rather slay him, sell his hide to caulk ships with, first steeped with pitch, nor hands are wrung in sorrow for his fate. Protected thus, the purity we loved is gained for us. So did girl Moon, by just her attribute of unmatched modesty betrayed, lie trapped, bruised to the breast of Pan, half god, half brute, raked by his bristly boar sword, while he lapped, never say kissed her, that were to pollute love's language, which moreover proves unapt to tell how she recoiled, as who finds thorns where she sought flowers, when feeling she touched horns. Then does the legend say first moon eclipse happened, first swooning fit which puzzled sore the early sages? Is that why she dips into the dark a minute and no more, only so long as serves her while she rips the cloud's womb through, and faultless as before pursues her way? No lesson for a maid left she, a maid herself thus trapped, betrayed. Ah, Virgil, tell the rest you. To the deep of his domain, the wildwood, Pan forthwith called her, and so she followed. In her sleep surely, by no means spurning him. The myth explain who may. Let all else go, I keep, as of a ruin just a monolith, thus much, one verse of 5 words, each a boon. Arcadia, night, a cloud, Pan, and the moon. End of Pan and Luna. This recording is in the public domain.